Now, my first guest happens to be one of the stars of Pose and is also blazing a trail beyond the small screen. Angelica Ross plays Candy Ferocity, the unapologetic, fearless ballroom performer who founded the House of Ferocity. Take a look.
You stood up there on your perch talking about it's our time to be seen, to show the world what we got. That's right. But in this room, you the only one that refused to see that I got something to contribute. I got heart. I got talent. I'm a star just like Madonna.
Angelica Ross joins us from her home in Atlanta. Welcome to the show. It's so good to have you on. I got goosebumps watching that scene, just listening to the characters' words and knowing your story and from where you've come from, being in the Navy and at a very young age, 17 years old, forced to find your truth in the most difficult environment. Take us back to that 17-year-old in that picture and how we're here now.
You know, it's such a full circle moment to be here now. And it really is a testament to the strength and the resilience of trans people in general. It's interesting because when I was 17 years old, I had short, blonde, curly hair. And, you know, as a trans person, in the thick of my dysphoria, you really wouldn't have caught me without a wig or without, you know, long hair. But to fully go through a transition and journey where you come right back around to exactly who you've always been. So for me, you know, going into the military, I thought I was going in to toughen up, to straighten up, and to, you know, get that light back in my mom's eyes that when she looked at me, because I didn't want to feel that look of disappointment that I wasn't living up to her expectations. I didn't realize until after I was ousted from the military, they hung me from a third-story window to try to admit I was gay, which wouldn't have been my truth, because for me, I was still finding out that I was a woman, that I was trans. And so, but I realized that going into the military to try to toughen up, it was actually my transition and my journey that made me the toughest.
Oh, my God. You know I'm crying already, and we're 3 minutes into this show because, to your point, it's not an overnight answer for so many people. And you, as you stated, they're being hung over this building, forced to admit something that you didn't even know at that time was the answer. And it was not the answer to your identity and who you are. But the point of this show is to talk about like how things turned out, you know, how it started. That's still my favorite challenge, and how it's going. And there you are on Pose, this epic show, and it's coming to an end. When the show first came out, I think it was Entertainment Weekly, Angelica, who called it truly revolutionary. What a legacy now that you are a part of something that's been deemed revolutionary in a time where we think we've seen it all.
Yeah, well, it's honestly, it was a cry to the industry in general, who was just really adamant about putting cis people in trans roles and telling us that there just weren't any trans actors out there who could handle that level of performance. And so when Pose came around with multiple trans women giving multiple groundbreaking performances, you just couldn't ignore it. Even if some of the, you know, award shows might have ignored it, our audience was captivated around the world, and it has changed people's lives.
It has, and your character, Candy, I hope everybody was caught up on the storyline. A very important storyline was Candy's murder, because she was a victim of violence against trans people. We see it, we've talked about it on this show. And you once said being trans comes at a high cost, but being Black and trans can cost you your life. And that episode, again, was something that I think only Pose could have done, or if they're not the only ones, they surely are the only ones who decided to do it in that way.
Yeah, especially because, you know, this show takes place in the 1980s, but I just remember before shooting the series, I had gotten a call, or not even a call, I was scrolling on Instagram, as we do, and I scrolled up and there goes another trans woman that was murdered. And it was someone that I knew closely. It was someone that I had actually career coached because she wanted her get her beautician's license. She was one of those kitchen beauticians, that could really do amazing hair. But being trans and the struggle with everything, it was just a struggle to get there. And so when I heard that she was killed, it just broke me. I remember like being inconsolable. And so when we filmed Candy's final scenes, before we said action, I pulled out a list of names of all the girls who had passed away that year, and I read off each name, and we all cried together in that room. And so the tears you see from everyone on the screen are coming from a real place because it's something that's really happening still today.
You are in so many ways still obviously acting, and that's a focus, but you're free to explore something I'd never heard people discuss, which is the underserved trans community in the tech world. You started creating websites and Photoshops from the kitchen. We talked about the kitchen, the hairstylists who craft their skills in the kitchen, right? But you're in Chicago at your kitchen table teaching yourself to code. How did this even start?
Actually, yeah. So it actually started way before that. But by the time we got to that kitchen table, that was me quitting my job for a nonprofit that was supposed to be serving our community, but I felt was underestimating my community because they told me that tech skills was going to be over their heads. So I quit the job. I ended up being really broke. I went on food stamps. It was very, very hard time for me. And I was teaching a small group of people from my kitchen table. But what I was teaching them was my blueprint, because I, as a Black trans woman, too, was trafficked into sex work, into the adult industry. So when I say that I learned to code myself, it came out of a very real place of survival, because I was being exploited on an adult website. I was about to be exploited, I should say. And then this serendipitous moment happened when the website owner was like, wow, you're pretty sharp on that computer. How about you just update the website every month, put the new pictures up, do some photo retouching, and you don't have to pose. So what I ended up doing was going to some video tutorials online, and I learned HTML and CSS, the basic beginning codes of coding. And I basically, instead of posing on the site, started running the sites. So that was a blueprint that I ended up extending to my community to say, when I say tech, I don't just mean coding, because when we eventually in 2017 got to our first TransTech Summit, our first ever keynote speaker was T.S. Madison, because she embodied what I meant when I want the girls to take technology in their hands. T.S. Madison has taken social media by storm, and it's because she took technology and did what she wanted to do with it.
Right. And T.S. Madison is also a guest on this show this hour, because the whole intention of the show, Angelica, was not to have, another understanding of what this means or that means. It's the next level of the conversation. Right. It's the empowerment that women talk about all the time. Women's empowerment, trans community empowerment. And the tech world, we all have our sights set on that, because we know that's where the money is, and that's where the power is, and that's where the future is. So you've got your program that you started, TransTech, that was in 2014. That's the training program. You also have a book in the works where you're developing new unscripted material here. But at the end of the day, I always tell people, power is nothing if you can't use it to help other people. Power is not to be able to acquire things and say, look at all the wealth that I have. Power is when you use it to help other people. So now you've got the power. Do you feel powerful?
I feel extremely powerful, because get it this way. Ryan Murphy has seen me, and he acknowledges my talent and affirms it in his world. So I'm able to take up space that is meant for me to take up. But what I try to teach people is, when you are privileged enough to be able to take up space, make sure you know how to create space as well. So when I say tech, I don't just mean coding. I mean video editing, working the lights, the grip folks, and people who are working in your crew right now on the Tamron Hall show. If we can learn the tech skills, there's no end to the possibilities of what we can do. It's not just coding.
It is not limited to just coding. And by the way, I'm going to Google all those acronyms that you just named for coding. I'm like, what is she saying? CCI, that's the basics of coding. You are brilliant. You are beautiful. You are powerful. And I'm just happy to have shared this time with you. Thank you, and congratulations on everything, Angelica.
Thank you so much, Tamron. I have to say, listen, I have a song coming out called Fierce. Actually, it's already
Uh-huh.
out right now, but we're about to shoot the music video, and I am dying. It's supposed to be with fierce cis and trans women, and I would love, because I think you're so fierce, if you would consider being in our music video.
You want me
Think
in the
about
music
it,
video?
Tamron.
Do I have to sing? Wait, do I have to sing?
No, listen, you have to just serve
be
face.
there.
You have face.
Okay, I'm
It's
in.
all
I'm
about
in.
women celebrating every aspect of who we
Okay.
are, and you are one of the
I
fiercest women I
accept
know.
it.
Yes!
I accept the invitation. Send the information to my team. I'm going to be in Angelica's video, Fierce.